Coffee and Headlines is brought to you by the generous support of our viewers and the following community partners: Best Cord Cutting TV, Bravo's Restaurant Bar, El Rey Lounge de Versalles, Joint Boutique Hotel and Cowork, Monson Brewing Company, Puerto Vallarta Neurofeedback, Puerto Vallarta Owners Reps, Oculto, and Siam Cocina Thai. Thank you for your support, and thank you for supporting our community partners. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get-together live on Facebook, live on YouTube, where we examine news from our city, our state, our country. We take a look at your comments, your ideas, your suggestions. We try very hard not to sneeze. Oh, ow. Oh. Okay. Well, that was a dud. Oh, but I feel so much better now. It is Tuesday, June 17th, and here we are, sneezing and feeling happy. It rained last night. Boy, did it rain. Let's start with the news, as long as we're talking about rain. It finally poured. The severe storm that struck us last night and early morning left multiple damages in various areas of the city, with reports of downed trees, flooded streets, and prolonged power outages. This is how it goes. Francisco Villa Avenue was one of the hardest hit roads from the intersection with El Libramiento to Avenida Las Américas. Francisco Villa was pretty much closed to traffic due to flooding, a situation that extended to the area of Milan Street. That's one of my cross streets. But I was in bed. I didn't even notice. I certainly hope that nobody endured any major damage and that everybody is doing okay. We'll have more on the forecast at the end of this block. But first, if you're hungry, well, the good news is that here in Jalisco, we have no shortage of restaurants. In fact, the state of Jalisco went from having 28,000 eateries in 2022 to 43,000 in 2024, consolidating our state's position as a benchmark in the restaurant sector, according to an analysis that used data from CANIRAC, which is the National Restaurant Chamber of Commerce. And the study highlights that Puerto Vallarta and the Guadalajara metropolitan area are key gastronomic hubs, as the sector generates 7.7% of the more than 4 million jobs in the state. My only hope is that the restaurants will find enough patrons during the summer months, because we know that things tend to get a little relaxed around here. A few days ago, we discussed how so many infrastructure initiatives throughout Mexico are connected in one way or another to position our country as favorably as possible during next year's World Cup event. We just learned that in preparation for this, the Jalisco government launched the Magical Route program aimed at promoting small businesses in the 12 Pueblos Mágicos in the state. This includes comprehensive methodology that will allow municipalities to strengthen their economic units or businesses through an individualized assessment and training for local officials. And this is important because commerce and services represent more than 60% of our gross domestic product. So the program is specifically focused on that, on enabling us to serve our commerce, they said, through the municipalities, with the vision that all sectors, industry, commerce, and services, are driving forces. This is a lot of big words for saying the state of Jalisco is training small businesses in these Pueblos Mágicos to become more effective and more successful in the light of all the tourism that we're hoping to generate during the event next year. Moving to international news, the first order of business for President Sheinbaum upon arriving in Canada for the G7 summit was to meet with members of Canada's Business Council. And then she went to her social media accounts and she posted, and I quote, "There is interest from Canadian businessmen in investing in Mexico." Today, President Sheinbaum will begin her participation in the forum held at the Kananaskis Resort. This is about 90 kilometers from Calgary, where she will take part of the officials' G7 photo op. She will then attend a trilateral meeting with the President of the European Council, Antonio Costa, and the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen. She will then meet with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi in a previously scheduled bilateral meeting and later participate in the G7 plenary session where issues of international peace, economic cooperation, global security, and climate change will be discussed. Wow, to be a fly at those high stake meetings, I'm so happy to see not only our president invited as a special guest to the summit, but also doing what she can and what she has been charged to do by Mexico, which is to take care of Mexico and our citizens. Now, let's turn over to the weather. The next storm to have a statement to say is Erick. Erick is now a tropical storm. And in light of its rapid evolution, an alert mission has been deployed to implement all necessary preventive actions to protect the population in the states of Chiapas, Oaxaca, and Guerrero, where it is predicted as a Category 2 hurricane before making landfall on the borders of Oaxaca and Guerrero. Hurricane surveillance is ongoing. And even though this is all going to happen south of Puerto Vallarta, we're still keeping an eye on this one as usual. Now, let us take a quick look at what our weather man or service has to say. Oh, ouch. Your therapist is right. You do suck. Well, I'm not buying that one because I don't even have a therapist. And where is the pum when you need it? Here it is. Oh, and I found the farting iguana, by the way. It is 30 degrees out there. Humidity is at 75%. Our weather forecast for today includes partly cloudy skies in the morning with thunderstorms in the afternoon, a chance of rain of 46%, a high of 32, and a low of 25. Then tomorrow, Wednesday, rain in the morning with thunderstorms in the afternoon, a chance of rain of 64%, a high of 32, and a low of 26. And then Thursday, overcast skies in the morning with thunderstorms in the afternoon, a high chance of rain, 81%, a high temperature of 31, and a low temperature of 25. So it'll continue to be wet, and this is a good thing for our trees and our mountains. Let's see what else we have here. Oh, dear. Yes. Yesterday, we told you about these very enlightened tourists that decided to sit on an exhibition chair in a museum in Italy. And that was not very smart. And even though they have not been identified by authorities and the piece has been successfully restored, the Palazzo Maffei, which is, again, a renowned museum in Verona, has filed a formal complaint after a visitor damaged an artwork by sitting on it, the institution reported yesterday. And speaking of yesterday, Lars and I got together to go buy tickets for the Lucha Libre, which is happening this Saturday. The good news is we got our tickets. The bad news is that they are selling increasingly more successfully every time. We got there yesterday at the ticket stand in Plaza Caracol, and whereas they usually have 4 rows of chairs around the ring, they had to add a 5th row due to high demand. And of that 5th row, when we stopped by to get our seats, there were only about a dozen left. So everything else left is going to be on the bleachers if you want to attend the Lucha Libre, which is fun if you bring a little pad for your touche. And of course, I'm excited that I was talking with Jorge, the organizer of the fights. He was there at the ticket booth, and he's going, whoa, not that. We don't want that. What we want is this. Yikes. Where is my. This is what I want to show you. And I can't show you, darn it. Well, what I wanted to tell you is that it is the spotlight that we're going to have tomorrow. And I will be joined not only by Diana from Diana's Tours, but Jorge Dueñas from the organizer of the Lucha Libre matches is going to be joining us to give us a little taste of what can be expected on this Saturday's matches. And now let us take a quick look at this, which I'm also very excited about. I have a question for you. Are you familiar with these characters? If you watch this on TV, then you already know Michel Legrand. I may not be able to tell you much about what happens next here, but if you join me this coming Thursday at 5 p.m. at the Joint Boutique Hotel, you may learn a thing or two about Michel Legrand. Yes. And Michel Legrand has a great song. Well, no, I'm going to save it for Thursday's presentation. I'm going to save it. Let's take a look at your comments. Lots of good mornings, which I appreciate. Thank you very much. Taco Tuesday. Well, that sounds like a great idea if you ask me. Oh, thank you, Karen. That was unexpected, but that felt good. Thank you, Sherry. Let's see what else we have. Stan. Oh my goodness, Stan, you must be getting so excited about Thursday's wellness adventures that you and Gloria Fiona are putting together. I'm so happy to know that you are running out of spots, and I hope it's super successful, and I hope it comes back. Let's see. Oh, Muffin. Muffin always has something to say about the weather. Well. We had our first real rain shower a few nights ago, and last night was our first real thunderstorm of the season. Wasn't it wonderful? It was absolutely amazing. Let's see what else we have. Yes, the skies opened up and the air feels completely fresh this morning, and I'm loving it. Oh, how wonderful! Christy spent time yesterday with Lucy Muniz. Lucy, who used to run Lucy's Cuckoo Cabana on Basilio Vadillo Street. I don't know if you remember Lucy and her husband, Gil, who is an amazing writer. They were a fixture of Puerto Vallarta for many years, certainly when I first arrived here. In fact, it was Lucy who introduced me to my first volunteering gig in Puerto Vallarta. There was a shindig, a pasta competition going on across the street from her shop, and I decided to volunteer. I figured I'll meet some like-minded individuals here, and thanks to Lucy Muniz, I had my first volunteering gig in Puerto Vallarta just weeks after I arrived. And that was 23 years ago. My goodness. Let's see what else we have. The chair dork was all over the news. I would just hate to be those people. I really would. That's all I'm going to say. Oh, thank you very much, John. For the record, I was nowhere in Italy at that time. That's good to know. I'll sleep better tonight knowing that it was not you who sat on the Swarovski chair. Yes. Let's see what else we have. Hoping that the Lucha Libres will be in action in December when we are back in Puerto Vallarta. Well, Devin, they have been scheduling them like once every 2 months or thereabouts. We are big fans here, so I'll be happy to continue to keep an eye on these, and you can rest assured that we will mention them in upcoming broadcasts. Angelica tells us, I saw in the TV that President Claudia finished paying the international debt of Mexico. Did you know about it? What? You saw this on TV. I have not seen any headlines to that effect, but you know, that's a big headline. I wonder if we will run into it later on today. And let's see, am I forgetting anything? I told you about Michel Legrand, and of course, after Michel Legrand, we are going to be working on this. Um, well, my screen is deciding not to do my updates as I expect. That is so very bizarre. I wanted to show you my next upcoming presentation, which is called Lukma. It's a piano where I'm going to be celebrating modern masterpieces for those of you that are curious about what kind of music is being composed for the piano these days or what kind of music is being performed. And this, my friends, brings us to the end of this morning's broadcast. See, now I am just pushing all the wrong buttons and I'd better stop. Hold on just a second. This is what I'm trying to do. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Thank you so much for spreading the word of what we bring to the table every morning and all the other projects that we embark on. I look forward to tomorrow morning with you, tomorrow afternoon with Diana and our friends from Lucha Libre, and I look forward to connecting you wherever we run into each other. Have a great day, and I'll see you again soon.